Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the SMTP protocol. So what is SMTP? SMTP, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, is basically responsible for sending email from your client to a server and between servers. So basically it's for sending emails from Outlook to the server, or if you use Gmail, it's from sending it from that client to the server. You can just think of it as an outgoing mail service. It differs from POP and the IMAP protocols, which download email from a server to the client. So SMTP is for sending email from the client to a server. Usually runs on port 25, so we'll check that in a minute with an nmap scan. So I have the Ubuntu VM running on 10.0.0.4. So that's up and running. So if we run a quick nmap scan, port 25, make the view a little bit bigger. You can see it a bit easier. So what's come back? So it tells us it's a postfix. That's right, that's what I use to set up the server. And not a lot else, but it definitely tells us it's an SMTP server running. So one way of interacting with it is telnet, the IP, and the port. Now from here we can try. Okay, so now we're connected, we can use the following commands to see if we can enumerate any valid users on the system. So mail from : any name and domain here is fine. Now this is where we look for actual users. Let's try. So the Ubuntu-S part, that's the name of the machine that it's running on. So as we can see here, recipient address rejected, user unknown in local recipient table. So let's try one that I know is in there. So we get a 250, okay. So that means Angela is a user on that machine. So obviously you go through now and you could just manually test to see all the users that you could find on the system. This is a good way of enumerating users. However, it's not practical manually typing it in every time. So let's drop out of this. There is a tool we can use called SMTP enum. SMTP user enum, sorry. And then we can specify a few commands here. U for the name, T for the target. So if we run this one here, knowing that this user doesn't exist in the system, we get 0 results back. However, if we run the Angela name again, we get 1 result back. So this is a method of username enumeration, which is a powerful technique. You can also specify a username list. So if I define a few common usernames you might find, root, admin, Angela, because we know she's in there. If we run that again and pass the username list, I'm guessing will be a capital U, but let's just check. Yeah, U for file. And then try it with that list and see what happens. So we've got admin exists, root exists, Angela exists, robot exists, Darlene exists. So we've got 5 actual usernames. So now we have this list of names. Let's go back and edit the users and remove the ones that weren't valid. Steve, there was no David, no John. So now we have valid usernames for the target. What could we do with it? We'd run a more generic nmap scan, which I should have done to start with, to be honest. And just see what other ports are open. So we can see from the output that port 22, SSH is open. So straight away I'll be thinking, right, I've got valid usernames now. We could try a password spray against SSH and see what we come back with and see if we get lucky. So let's do that now. Check how to specify a file of usernames. Capital L for file, capital P for file. Okay, so capital L for users. Actually, before we do that, let's create a file with some common passwords in it. This isn't a brute force attack where we're hammering it with thousands of passwords. We're going to try a little spray with a few passwords and see what it comes back with. It's a lot more of an evasive attack than a noisy brute force attack. So now Hydra, capital L for the users file, capital P for the passwords file, and then SSH and the IP. Oh, so we got a hit on Angela. She's got a weak password. And that's finished. So we got one valid password. So now, can we log into Angela with that password? Yes, we can. Who am I? And there's Angela's files. So there we go. A quick, simple demonstration on how a misconfigured SMTP server could potentially escalate us into signing into the system. There are other attacks we can perform against SMTP. They're slightly more technical and involve more of a lab setup, so I will save that for a later video. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.